That wasn't shit.
Alright. What's good, YouTube? Nasty Nate. Back at it with the second moto vlog. Like I said, I'm trying to pump the content out, and I realized on my last video that I didn't have a very good angle with the sit down, so I got a new little setting here. I might have to adjust it a little bit, but we'll see what it do. Today, given the topic that I've taken this handbrake completely off to work on coasters, I wanted to talk about something that I wish that I would have paid more attention to when I first started riding. A lot of people told me, but I didn't want to listen, was to learn the foot brake before you do anything else. Learn the foot brake. And so I have been riding, I got on a stunt bike 5 years ago, but with injuries, it's been on and off, so I wouldn't necessarily call it 5 years. It's been about 3 with a couple breaks in between, but I'm just now mastering, or on the pursuit of mastering, the foot brake. And it's wet out. Oh, that's a way better angle of the clutch. Getting warmed up. So for beginner riders, if you're around people that are telling you to learn your foot brake first, do it. Like, absolutely learn the foot brake first. If you don't know, if you're setting up a stunt bike and you don't know what you should be doing, you need to learn the foot brake first. Because if you don't, and you learn the handbrake first like me, dragging it out for these guys over here, put on a little show. If you learn the handbrake first like me, so listen, I had dudes telling me that learn the foot brake, learn the foot brake, learn the foot brake, but I was around riders that had been riding 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plus years, that were already past learning the basics, and I wanted to do what they were doing. So all the guys that I was riding with were learning handbrake stuff, so they were learning tank tricks, and so that's what I wanted to learn, was all that kind of stuff. So that's all the stuff that I wanted to learn, was handbrake. So then when I go back and I go through and I look back on my riding career, all I've ever done was done handbrake, and then I learned the throttle. So shout out to T-Ratch for teaching me the throttle. But I realized, like, all the times that I was doing sit downs, and people would comment and be like, yo, you're so smooth, like, how'd you get so smooth? I wasn't actually even using the brake. I rarely touch the brake while I ride. Unless I'm going to scrape, I stay off the brakes completely, which is why I still rock the stock rotor. I know not a lot of people still do, because everyone thinks you need the big brakes because the small brakes get hot. But I'm telling you, that's a whole different subject on throttle control. But I'm telling you, if you learn throttle control, you don't need your brakes unless you're scraping. And when you're scraping, everybody knows that it's just a tap. So trying to get these, lengthen these out a little bit. And like I said in the last video, I have a hard time talking and doing something I'm not good at the same time. So for all my beginner riders out there, or all my guys that are in the game and don't have good foot brake control, it is absolutely key to your bag of tricks, is knowing the foot brake. So it's something that I wish I would have paid more attention to and would have taken into consideration, because now I feel like I'm not getting behind, but when you don't do something you get rusty. So now I feel like I'm getting rusty with my jumping. Last time I rode a bike a couple weeks ago with a handbrake, I was kicking the clip on when I was jumping to 50-50, and I don't ever do that. It's like such a second nature to me, but now I want the foot brake and coasting and stuff like that to be a second nature. So that's what I'm working on now, and I'm forcing myself, because then also too, what people forget is you can jump on any bike and wheelie any bike. If you know how to use the foot brake, you can wheelie a stock bike. You have a lot more options if you go out of town and the bike that you borrow doesn't have a handbrake. You're not stuck. I could go now. I feel confident. It's funny because I've gone or went to go out of town a few times, and people are like, you know, I have this bike to offer you. Can you ride it? And I'm like, okay, what is it? Moto. Well, I can't ride it. Bike, you know, people have a lot of spare bikes that aren't completely set up, that they've taken parts off of and stuff like that, and they, you know, they won't have a handbrake, and I'm like, oh well, you know, I don't need brakes, so I'm still down to ride it, but it would be nice, you know, to be able to slow down in traffic and have some foot brake control. So that's what I'm working on now, you know, 5 years later. Forcing myself to learn. So don't learn the hard way. Don't get to the point where you should be having things perfected and having to go back and relearn it like I am right now. If I would have just, you know, taken the time instead of, you know, doing what I was comfortable at, what I was good at, over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and basically trying to, I wouldn't say, I don't think show off's the right word, but show out, I guess, at the lot, and people are there, and I'm like, oh, you know, I'll just do what I'm good at, because people want to pull out their phones and watch, and what's that do for me? Nothing. It kept me in a place where I was doing the same stuff over and over and over, and that's why honestly I like to practice alone, because now I'm okay with failing in front of people. But when I was younger, man, my head was so big that I would go to the lot and I would be like, all right, I'm gonna practice this today, and I didn't end up practicing much of anything, because people would come out and they would tell me to do stuff that I've already done, and so I would just keep doing the same stuff over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, you know. And then I get to the point where I'm not progressing, because every time I come to the lot, people want to see me do the same shit, and then I try to go out and do stuff that I haven't worked on, and I go at it in a way where I go at it in a way that I'm not confident enough, and then I end up crashing. So tuck your ego when you ride. Even if you're not good at something, if you have a reputation, and Instagram is a good and a bad thing, but for reputation, and you have a reputation for doing something, and you're only showing your highlights, and you go out and people are watching you, and you want to embarrass yourself by trying something new, man, tuck your ego. I'm telling you, failure is the best thing for progression. And I have failed more than a lot of people in this sport. Failed more than a lot of people in this sport. And that's why I feel like I've gotten so far. Just a little blip. go. That's feeling good. But learn your foot brake, guys. Learn your foot brake. Then you won't be like me, going back 5 years later, trying to perfect something that if I had in my bag, man, if I was back in the day when I was jumping around like crazy, if I could have jumped a high chair and then came back and pulled one of those, oh, I would have been nasty. I would have been nasty. So, this is your boy, Nasty Nate, signing out. I'm gonna catch y'all in the next one. Next moto vlog's gonna be of a street ride. I'm gonna see by the end of tonight. This is probably the last time I'll ride until that ride. If I can get these limiters locked in, man.